Hello, friends, and welcome to the next in line. Now we are in requirement 9 of PCI DSS, and welcome to this session. It's not going to be that long, so stay with me. And in this session, we take up questions that's been raised up by our viewers and our clients pertaining to this PCI DSS standard. That is the latest one that has come, version 4.0. And in this, we'll be looking at the summary of changes from version 3.2.1 to 4.0. And before we proceed into the topic, have you subscribed to our channel? If not, then this is the best time to do it. It's a treasure trove of information on various standards such as PCI DSS, PCI SSF, SOC 1, SOC 2, GDPR, HIPAA, you name it, we are there, and all of it is free. So do go through it. You can see the link on the screen, and you can read the description below to learn more about it. As soon as you subscribe, click on the bell icon, and we upload like one video a week, and you'll get access to it all for free. So heading straight into it for PCI DSS 4 requirement 9. So in the earlier version of PCI DSS 3.2.1 requirement 9, let's start from the title. It was restrict physical access to cardholder data. But now in PCI DSS 4, this requirement has been updated to restrict physical access to cardholder data and maintain a controlled environment. So this and maintain a controlled environment has been added to give a broader focus on both physical security controls and environmental management to ensure comprehensive protection of cardholder data. Now, the title in this new version has been updated to emphasize the importance of implementing strong security controls for physically securing cardholder data within secure and sensitive areas such as the card data environment and the related facilities. Right off the bat, requirement number 9.1.2. This has been newly introduced in PCI DSS version 4, and this is standard as you can see across all the requirements from requirement 1 to 12. And this basically speaks about defining roles and responsibilities and documenting the assigned responsibilities to personnel. And this is immediately effective for all version 4 assessments. In the earlier version 3.2.1 of PCI DSS, requirement 9.1 emphasized the need to implement appropriate entry controls to restrict and monitor physical access to systems within the cardholder data environment, also known as CDE, thus ensuring that only authorized personnel could gain entry to the sensitive areas. But in the latest PCI DSS 4, this introduces new requirement 9.2.4, and this builds upon the concepts from requirement 9.1 in version 3.2.1. And this it does by emphasizing the need to restrict physical access to consoles in sensitive areas within the cardholder data environment through locking them when not in use. So this is this clarification that has been given, and this includes implementing physical or logical controls, ensuring clear documentation, and conducting periodic reviews of access lists to confirm that only authorized personnel have access. We see that in this latest PCI DSS version 4, the requirement 9.2 of PCI DSS 3.2.1, it continues to address the same aspects, but it is now introduced as two new sub-requirements, which is 9.3.1 and 9.3.2, maintaining the focus on segregating the controls for personnel and visitors. So requirement 9.3.1 under PCI DSS 4 focuses on identification of personnel with access to cardholder data environments, ensuring that only authorized individuals are granted access. And then we see the difference that comes up in 9.3.2, because this addresses the identification and management of visitors, not personnel, visitors, thus emphasizing the need for visitor logs and controls to prevent unauthorized access to sensitive areas. So what was under requirement 9.2 has now been split into two new requirements, 9.3.1 and 9.3.2. In the earlier version, requirement 9.4 required that all access to cardholder data environments be monitored and logged, and this involved implementing mechanisms to record and analyze access events, ensuring that logs are kept secure and available for review. And also we see that requirement 9.4.1 in PCI DSS 321 focused on maintaining a detailed record of all physical access events to support monitoring and investigation of potential security incidents. And then there is requirement 9.4.2 in PCI DSS 321, which emphasizes the need for periodic reviews to ensure that any anomalies or security breaches are promptly identified and addressed. Now, what we see is that in the latest PCI DSS 4, all these requirements 9.4, 9.4.1, 9.4.2 have been integrated into requirement 9.3.2. While in the earlier version, that is 3 to 1, these aspects are separated into distinct requirements for monitoring, logging, and reviewing physical access. Requirement 9.3.2 in the latest version combines the authorization and management of visitor access into a unified control. So these three requirements 9.4, 9.4.1, 9.4.2 from the earlier version are now combined into one requirement in PCI DSS 4. Then we come to requirement 9.5 in PCI DSS 3 to 1. This mandated that the physical access to areas where cardholder data is stored or processed be effectively restricted and managed to prevent unauthorized access. And then we see that requirement 9.5.1 further specifies that these physical access control mechanisms be tested regularly to ensure their effectiveness, including periodic assessments to identify and address any potential weaknesses. But we see that in the latest version, version 4, this requirement, which focused on physical physically securing media, has been removed. And now this is replaced by requirement 9.4, which now includes two new sub requirements 9.4.1.1 for storing media backups in a secure location, and 9.4.1.2 for reviewing the security of these offline backup locations at least once every 12 months. Then there is requirement 9.6 in PCI DSS 3.2.1, which requires the implementation and maintenance of effective physical security measures for areas where cardholder data is stored or processed, which includes reviewing physical access controls at least every 6 months. This was covered in 9.6.1. And then documenting changes to physical security measures in 9.6.2, and then promptly addressing any anomalies or issues detected during these reviews, which was covered under 9.6.3. Now, this was the older version, which is 3.2.1. But in the latest version, PCI DSS 4, this requirement has been removed, including all the sub requirements, which is 961, 962, and 963. Now, specifically, there is a requirement 9.4.2, which addresses the procedures for securely managing the internal distribution of media containing cardholder data. And then there is requirement 9.4.3, which focuses on securely managing the external distribution of such media. And then there is requirement 9.4.4, which ensures that these procedures are integrated with overall physical and data security practices, reflecting the consolidation and enhancement of media security controls. Now, in the next requirement, requirement 9.7, which mandated that all media containing cardholder data must be protected against unauthorized access, and this includes implementing controls to ensure that sensitive data on media is secure at all times. And for that, there was requirement 9.7.1 specifically to identify that all media containing cardholder data be classified so that it can be easily identified and appropriately secured. But now we see that both these requirements from the older version 9.7 and 9.7.1 has been removed in PCI DSS 4, and their procedures are integrated into updated requirement, which is 9.4.5, which addresses the need for strict control over the storage and accessibility of media containing cardholder data, while requirement 9.4.5.1, which is a sub requirement, splits the original requirement into two parts. One, maintaining media inventory logs and conducting media inventories regularly on an annual basis. This ensures that media is securely managed and regularly accounted for as a part of comprehensive security approach. In PCI DSS 3.1, that is the earlier version, there was a requirement 9.8, which emphasized the need for securely destroying media that contain cardholder data when it is no longer needed. Now, this was critical to prevent unauthorized access to sensitive information, whereas requirement 9.8.1 outlined the methods for ensuring data is completely unrecoverable, such as shredding, incinerating, or degaussing the media, and to ensure that these practices are consistently followed. Requirement 9.8.2 mandates that the destruction process must be both documented and verified, providing an added layer of security and accountability. But we see that in the latest version, both the requirements 9.8.1 and 9.8.2, including the parent requirement 9.8, has been removed. And these are now integrated in the new standard under 9.4.6 and 9.4.7. Now, these new requirements clarify that when media is no longer needed, it must be either destroyed or rendered completely unrecoverable. Now, this update, which is very important, ensures that the process for securely handling and destroying media containing cardholder data is even more precise and robust, aligning with modern security practices. Next, we come to requirement 9.9 in the older version, which mandated that organizations must protect devices that capture payment card data via direct physical interaction with the card for tempering and substitution. Now, this included measures such as regularly inspecting these devices for signs of tampering and training personnel to be aware of and report any suspicious activity. But the latest version, PCI DSS version 4, requirement 9.5.1 replaces requirement 9.9 with an emphasis on securing point of interaction devices, POI devices, that directly capture payment card data during card present transactions. This new requirement clarifies that it specifically targets those deployed POI devices, thereby ensuring that they are safeguarded against tampering and unauthorized substitution. The new requirement added in version 4, that is 9.5.1.2.1, is a very long sub requirement. This mandates that organizations define the frequency of periodic inspections for the POI devices based on the entity's targeted risk analysis. This requirement is classified as a best practice until 31st March 25, prompting organizations to evaluate the specific risk and tailor their inspection schedules accordingly. Now, in case you're wondering how to do the targeted risk analysis, the Council has got your back on that. If you go to the site pcisecuritystandards.org and go into the resources section, you can see over there a template for the targeted risk analysis. With this, we end our informative session on PCI DSS Requirement 9, and I really hope that this video helped you and has been useful to you in understanding what changes have come about from requirement from the earlier PCI DSS 3.1 to PCI DSS 4. And to understand the changes in the other requirements, refer to our playlist, go through all the requirements for each requirement. We have released a separate video, and in the next video, we are covering the requirement 10 changes from version 3.2.1 to 4.0 explained. So stay tuned, and we also encourage you to share your feedback and your comments so that we can do a better job at presenting content to you and helping you navigate the perilous compliance paths. So, looking forward to seeing you again. Take care. Bye bye.